You dog. Damn it!
Welcome to the motherfucking We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. A recent addition to the upcoming Mayer versus Cameron fight set to go down in Birmingham in the United Kingdom late next month on the 29th. Tyson Gallagher will be taking on veteran journeywoman Ashleigh Johnson in a super bantamweight contest scheduled for 6 2-minute rounds. Would seem that MVP is slowly moving away from the 3-minute rounds they've been advocating for so long, on the premise that it was initially thought that by adding that extra minute it might result in more knockouts to thereby help make the sport more marketable to the casual observer. But after several attempts, that doesn't seem to be the case, and so Tyson will be boxing for 10 2-minute rounds instead of 10 3-minute rounds, sporting a professional record of 10 wins with 2 losses and no draws, no recorded knockouts, having never been knocked out in 12 professional bouts. 28 years old. She will be taking on Ashleigh Johnson, who is 29 years old, sporting an upside-down record of 3 wins with 4 losses and no draws, no recorded knockouts, having never been knocked out in 7 professional bouts. Ashleigh was last in action earlier this year in April, dropping a decision to Molly McCann. Before that, she dropped another decision to Cassidy Todd. Also having dropped decisions to Katie Healy, Victoria Perkins. She's about 2-4 in her last 6, meaning she won 2 fights but lost 4 of them. Where Tyson Gallagher, since having dropped a decision to then champion Sigolene Lefavre, is currently on a 4-fight winning streak, having last fought in September of the previous year against Ellie Hellwell, then unbeaten, which was actually the second unbeaten fighter that she beat in a row. Tori Willets, Ellie Hellwell.
Not too shabby.
You have to compete at a certain level in order to beat Tyson Gallagher. She's only ever dropped decisions to champion-level fighters like Sigolene Lefavre, Nina Hughes, both of which have held world titles before. You have to compete at a certain level. Needless to say, with an upside-down record of 3-4, I don't think Ashleigh Johnson is on the level. This reads to me like a tune-up fight for Tyson Gallagher, who has not boxed in some months, all the way back there in September of the previous year, which was the only fight she had in the previous year. I believe she was supposed to return to action earlier this one, but she suffered an injury that kept her out. So they're easing her back into activity for what will be her MVP debut, her first fight since joining the promotional banner in the super bantamweight division, where the reset button has been hit as a result of Ellie Scottney becoming undisputed, dropping all her belts, and moving up to feather. So why did they pick up Tyson Gallagher? Don't they have enough girls in the stable? The reason I think they picked up Tyson Gallagher is because of their arrangement with Sky Sports. If you mean to do more shows in the UK, you need more UK fighters.
What it is.
And so I expect Tyson Gallagher to win. This is a little more than a layup. An easy one for her to get back into activity, back to action, and back to fighting on a regular schedule. Tyson Gallagher on points is the pick.
In men's light heavyweight news, the IBA says despite offering Bivol double, he declined the Beterbiev trilogy. Bivol and Beterbiev fought to a pair of hotly contested majority decisions in October of 2024 and February of 2025. Beterbiev won the first to become the undisputed light heavyweight champion, and Bivol won the rematch to take back the titles as they headlined events in Saudi, financed by Turkey LL Sheikh. But over the last 17 months, a sequence of events on Bivol's side has frozen Beterbiev out of a third fight.
After the sequel concluded, the International Boxing Association stepped in as a highly interested player to secure the trilogy. The IBA has made several lucrative offers throughout different stages, including in recent weeks, with no success. However, I'm very disappointed. IBA President Umar Kremlev told The Ring, "Everyone is waiting for this fight. I don't know why Bivol and his team are not accepting the offer, but I will do my best to make this fight happen. We've been having discussions with both teams for quite a while. I can confirm that Beterbiev and his team are ready for the fight. The offer we made to Bivol for the third fight was considerably bigger than the first two fights. Specifically, Bivol was given 2 times a bigger offer than in previous fights.
That confirms it. Some months ago, Team Beterbiev said that the offer put forward by the IBA to do the trilogy was even bigger than what Turkey Sheikh put up.
That was the story according to them. Now you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, Umar Kremlev himself. Beterbiev will fight for free just to make the fight happen. After Bivol, 25-1 with 12 knockouts, beat Beterbiev, 21-1 with 20 knockouts, he vacated his WBC title in April of 2025 instead of moving forward with his mandatory challenger, David Benavidez. In July of last year, Beterbiev blasted Bivol for his lack of urgency and later revealed his rival outright rejected the fight. Bivol, meanwhile, underwent back surgery in August and returned in May to face IBF mandatory challenger Michael Eifert in what essentially amounted to a tune-up fight and won by UD.
Yeah, I didn't see Michael Eifert win a round in that fight.
Earlier this week, Bivol, the Ring Magazine, IBF, WBA, and WBO champion, was ordered by the latter to face another mandatory challenger, an interim champion, Callum Smith. Both sides have until July 26th to agree to a deal. Kremlev believes Bivol, 35, will be moving forward with a fight against Smith, and Beterbiev, 41, will be taking another fight in the meantime.
Well, it's about time.
But Kremlev still plans on pressing the issue and revisiting conversations whenever both sides are ready. To be honest, we've made really good offers in writing, Kremlev said, but unfortunately, Bivol's team is still waiting for something. Bivol appears ready for the fight, but his team is thinking.
Now, we know what they're thinking. Why rush into an Artur Beterbiev fight now? We can come back to it later on when he's a little bit older, a little bit slower.
Umar continued, as far as I can see, it looks like they're looking for other opportunities and options in the market. I believe firmly that we need to find common ground, and we need to make this fight happen. The world is waiting. Beterbiev gave Bivol a rematch, and Bivol should do the same. It's the only appropriate gesture.
I agree.
I can assure everyone that we are ready to organize the third fight at the highest level. We can stage the fight for 100,000 fans if it happens in Russia, but are also open to bringing it wherever it needs to be. The most important thing is that the fight needs to happen. I'm confident it's going to be another great fight.
You could argue that Artur Beterbiev, having always been the older fighter of the pair, didn't do himself any favors.
Rather, Top Rank didn't do their fighter any favors. I remember Bob Arum more than once putting it off, saying that Bivol was boring and the fight had no pizzazz. Top Rank didn't want to do it, and it's not up until the point that Turkey Sheikh comes into it with all of his money that the fight finally happens. But by then, Artur was getting long in the tooth, getting older.
That if the fight would have happened sooner, we probably would have seen a trilogy by now.
So there is that to consider. Simultaneously, Dmitry Bivol doesn't seem in a hurry to give Artur that third fight.
That's what Artur said.
That does seem to be the case. I don't doubt that the IBA are willing to pay handsomely for this fight, as they are a well-financed organization. They always have been, going back to the days when they were overseeing all of the amateur boxing before being stripped of recognition by the IOC.
They always had money.
So when they say that they're willing to pay Dmitry 2 times as much as what Turkey paid him to fight Artur, I believe it. I believe them.
They've got the money.
But it would seem that Dmitry Bivol is stalling Artur Beterbiev out, essentially aging him out.
Call it cowardice.
Call it strategy, whatever you want to call it. Team Bivol aren't in any hurry to fight Artur Beterbiev again, likely because
Artur's not going anywhere.
and neither are they. It's still the biggest fight that pays the biggest money for both teams, and the fight's not going anywhere.
So they figure, we don't have to do it now. We can wait. That favors us anyway.
We've got 3 alphabet titles, we've got 2 to 3 mandatories, we can take care of them while we let the gradual decay of time take hold over Artur. So by the time we do fight him again, he's a little slower, a little older,
A little easier to beat than he was the first 2 times.
Now it would seem that Artur is going to take in a stay busy fight in the interim, which I think he should have did last year.
Once he realized that the trilogy with Dmitry was not going to happen, he should have booked himself a fight with some ham and egger, some stay busy kind of guy.
That way at least he would be coming up on his second fight since dropping a decision to Dmitry in the rematch.
2 fights.
The way it is, Artur hasn't fought anyone since dropping that decision to Dmitry over a year ago, and he's the older fighter. He's the one that needs to stay sharp, stay active.
Really shouldn't have taken him this long to book another fight, but that's the story. He's going to be fighting somebody, and I'm going to assume the IBA will be at the helm of the promotion, now that Artur Beterbiev is a network and promotional free agent, having completed his contract with Top Rank.
That could be another high-profile signing for the IBA.
No chance of Artur Beterbiev going to Zmufa?
No, not when the focus of Artur Beterbiev's efforts at this late stage in his career is to get Dmitry back in the ring. Dmitry, who's set to be facing his mandatory challenger Callum Smith, trained by veteran trainer Buddy McGirt, who says Smith will rise to the occasion and beat Dmitry. Earlier this week, the WBO ordered negotiations to begin between the Ring Magazine, IBF and WBA WBO light heavyweight champion Bivol and interim champion Callum Smith. Bivol's mandatory and number one contender. Hall of Fame fighter turned trainer Buddy McGirt has trained Smith over the last 5 years in 5 fights.
And he's looked good under Buddy.
Following the former super middleweight champion's loss to Canelo way back there in 2020, McGirt likes his chances better against Bivol, the ring's number 6 ranked pound-for-pound fighter.
Callum will rise to the occasion for this fight against Bivol, without a doubt, McGirt told The Ring. Callum will beat Bivol with what he's capable of. Bivol can fight, but it's what Callum can do. He's long, rangy, and can catch Bivol when he's bouncing in and out. Callum just has to be ready to fire.
Smith, 31-2 with 22 knockouts, has been on the sidelines since suffering an injury in April, forcing him to withdraw from a David Morrell fight less than 2 weeks before their April 18th scheduled date. That would have ended a 14-month layoff.
Over a year.
Having won a February 2025 war against Joshua Buatsi for what was the WBO interim title that he now holds.
Round 6 in the Buatsi fight was a candidate for Round of the Year. Bivol, 25-1 with 12 knockouts, meanwhile, returned back from surgery in May for what essentially amounted to a tune-up fight against Michael Eifert, as the Russian easily cruised to a shutout decision win against his outmatched IBF mandatory. The fight marked Bivol's first outing since moving on from 2 tough tilts against Artur Beterbiev, in which they both traded majority decision wins. Beterbiev, who stopped Smith in a January 2024 title defense, beat Bivol in October of that same year, but lost to him in February of the following year. Eifert was nowhere near the same zip code in providing Bivol with some semblance of a test,
landing a mind-numbingly low just 12 punches over 12 rounds.
You heard that right, folks. Michael only landed 12 punches over the course of 12 rounds and 36 minutes.
Golly.
Bivol fights to the capacity of his opponent, McGirt said. If his opponent's good, you're going to get the best. If the opponent is mediocre, you're going to get a mediocre performance. Bivol does just enough to win against mediocre guys. When the opponent is a star, he rises to the occasion. So then, what is the game plan for Callum to beat Dmitry? It's an ancient Chinese secret, McGirt said with a hearty laugh.
It's a little hard to imagine that Callum will be the next one to do it, to beat Dmitry, on the premise that the night of, it will have been well over a year since Callum fought, and he'll be coming off an injury.
The one that caused him to withdraw from the David Morrell fight.
And in a very general sense, he will be sharing the ring with one of the very best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. For those not aware, Dmitry and Callum have history. Dmitry beat Callum in the amateurs.
I think he's about to beat him again in the pros.
It sounds a lot like the strategy going in for Callum will be to use his height and length to catch Dmitry Bivol as he makes his exit on his way out of the pocket to nail him with straight punches.
As Dmitry bounces out of striking distance.
Which is easier said than done, because Dmitry Bivol is a notoriously hard fighter to hit. That kind of a strategy to catch Dmitry as he's making his exit from the pocket would rely on timing, speed, and reflexes, all of which would have degraded over time for Callum, who hasn't fought in over 14 months.
The night of, it'll be closer to 2 years from Callum's last fight to his next one.
So I don't like Callum Smith's chances in this thing, but Buddy McGirt trains him. He's been training him for years now, and he's going to say what he needs to say about his fighter. He's going to urge him on, but in my opinion, he's about to lose a lopsided decision.
Dimitri's going to get him.
Because Dimitri, unlike Callum Smith, has seen action in the last 12 months. In a very general sense, he's one of the best fighters in the sport. There's no reason he shouldn't be able to handle this assignment, after which he may yet revisit the Artur Beterbiev fight. I don't think that fight is dead. I think it's paused, postponed. Though not dead in the water, it's something that Dimitri Bivol could always come back to.
After the Smith fight.
Artur Beterbiev is currently ranked as the #1 contender via the World Boxing Council, to which David Benavidez still holds the full title. But we all know that David is not returning to the light heavyweight division, not reigning as a unified cruiserweight champion. He's done at 175, so that by the time Artur and Dimitri do the dance for the third time, it could very well be for undisputed. For the money the IBA is willing to kick out to do this fight, 2 times as much as what Turkey LL Sheikh put up for it.
I would put the trilogy between Dimitri and Artur at some time in either the first or second quarter of next year. I don't think it happens this one. I think we get Bivol versus Smith in the fall or winter months.
With Artur Beterbiev taking a tune-up fight sometime in between now and then. The WBC title may go vacant once it becomes painfully clear David's got no intention of returning to light heavy.
At which point, Dimitri and Artur's trilogy can once again be for undisputed.
As it would represent the greatest financial value to the World Boxing Council, the biggest fight at the weight. They don't make any money letting David hold that title hostage while he's upstairs at cruiser.
You make more money letting Dimitri and Artur fight for it.
And if and when Dimitri and Artur box for the third time, I anticipate Dimitri will get the better end of the trilogy. I anticipate Dimitri will beat him for a second time.
Because of Artur's age.
Because I'm a realist. If this fight between them would have happened years ago, then maybe Artur would have knocked him out. Maybe Artur would have steamrolled him. But time has always been on Dimitri's side, so that now...
Come on.
If you've ever watched any of the videos I did in the build-up of their 2 fights, I said Dimitri Bivol, I think he's going to beat him because Artur Beterbiev, he is getting older.
You don't get faster as you get older. You don't get stronger.
Time has always been on Dimitri Bivol's side, so that when the dust settles and it's all said and done, I think he'll cap off the trilogy with 2 wins over Artur Beterbiev, 2 of the better light heavyweights this division would have seen in the last 10, 20 years of boxing.
Better than Sergey Kovalev, better than Adonis Stevenson.
On what premise?
Sergey Kovalev and Adonis Stevenson were never undisputed, were they?
No, they weren't.
2 guys like Artur and Dimitri, I would actually pick Artur and Dimitri to beat them both. To beat both Sergey Kovalev and Adonis Stevenson in their prime.
Though as it stands, I believe they are going to face each other for a third time, just not as soon as Artur Beterbiev and the IBA would like. But when they do, I've got Dimitri.